Welcome, everybody. Episode 20 of the Critical Strike podcast, the big 2-0, fresh off day one of MSI. And some of the games delivered, some did not. But the ones that did, those are the ones that we're going to talk about. Hank's CBLOL Corner is going to be the whole dang podcast, unless my wonderful co-host, Meg Kay, Tyler Esguerra, and Michael Kelly back for yet another episode. Don't stop me. So to ward off any of that, let's start from the top. The first game of the tournament, Damwon Kia against Cloud9. To me, that went about how I thought it would. I don't think there's any reason to hit any panic buttons if you're an NA fan. And I mean, because when Tyler and Meg and I had Chronicler on last time, that was something he said. He said, look, they will punish any mistake you make, but their early laning really isn't that strong. And that's kind of how it played out.
In a way, I think that we saw that they're not infallible, right? Maybe they need to kind of get warmed up a little bit, but as we saw, the way that they won that game was through just superior wave control and macro, right? In the team fights, especially early, they were actually kind of like losing, right? They lost a couple of like early skirmishes. I remember in the bottom lane as well, like Sven was doing work, but then you look after those fights and Damwon still has like a 2.5k gold lead. And so it kind of carried into the later stages of the game when suddenly that's when they started winning the team fights, because they accrued that kind of gold lead and made sure that Blabber from the beginning was getting kind of like stepped on by Canyon and just being outplayed in the jungle. But I don't think this was anything that we there wasn't really any surprises. I think that right now, Damwon clearly are the favorites, as everyone thought. And I think that they just need time to ramp up. I think that this is not even their strongest form. This is not their final form at all.
No, I don't think it is. And I think this is kind of I don't think there was anyone in the world, regardless of how much of a diehard NA fan you are, that was not expecting exactly this outcome from this game. And they put up a fight, which is good. We saw some, I don't want to say signs of life from them, because that sounds like kind of an indictment a little too early, but, they didn't look all that bad. Sure, Cloud9 definitely held their own for some of the game, not necessarily all of it. But, man, Damwon is so scary. That is just, if this is what they look like, not on full form, or, not quite at their peak yet, they are just, they're going to be doing what they did to C9 to a lot more people before this tournament's finished.
Yeah, and the scary part is, first and foremost, thank you for having me. It's nice to be back on the show. But the scary part for Damwon Gaming is that the road only gets easier from here. This is the only major region versus major region matchup we're going to get in the group stage, and it was a one-sided romp. The fact that Damwon Gaming still has to play against Infinity Esports and Detonation Focus Me, who are, on paper, much worse than Cloud9 in terms of skill level, overall mechanics, everything you throw on the board. Yeah. Damwon Gaming should beat those minor region teams quite handily. So for Damwon, this is really, just like you said, Tyler, a warm-up. They're still getting back into groove. They're still shaking off the rust. I think by the time that the top 6 teams are settled and the Rumble stage kicks off, Damwon's going to be fully ready to go on all fully online, ready to go on all cylinders, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm. No, they're going to be wound up. I mean, I think it's what you saw. I mean, let's talk about the top lane in that one, because that to me wasn't even. I feel bad for Fudge, because the mistakes that he made, Khan just punished. Right, that was it wasn't even an indictment on Fudge's performance. I don't even think he performed all that poorly, but it's, again, just the level gets so much higher going against the defending world champions, going against a literal world champion in Khan. Maybe 2-time? Did he win 2 or did he win 1?
I think it's
I don't believe.
Or was he just in the?
I don't believe. Has he won?
Did he win?
I don't think he's won a single one. Correct.
Really?
FPX Khan, no?
No, that was
after. That was Gimgun.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Esports journalist, by the way.
Yeah, I said literal and maybe 2 times, so I've got to backtrack on all those. But anyway, it was crazy because Canyon busted out the Morgana, and he, his laners were, getting not bodied, but they weren't stopping any lanes, and it was through not even he didn't just meme on Blabber, but Blabber, I mean, he was playing Kindred, which he's a very good Kindred player, but Kindred's a very boomer bust champion, and he got behind even a little bit on her, them, Kindred is a them, are a them, and he was just an ult bot for the rest of the game. Because Khan went in there, killed him by his red buff when he was like level 7, he was level 5. But again, it was just Fudge makes a small mistake, and it's like Canyon's just there like, hey guys, I'm gonna farm. I'll be there in a sec. Just, you know, don't break anything while I'm gone, except for Blabber. If you want to go break Blabber, you can do that. That's what we did. But I think, look, this is kind of, again, I don't think there's any cause for concern here if you're an NA fan. Now, next 2 days, you got to play DFM and Infinity. We'll leave the concern for those 2 days if it all hits the fan.
Please, I do not want a repeat of Team Liquid losing to
Machi. One and only
Sports.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Please do not do this.
The
to
number
me
one
again.
seed from the PCS. Put some respect on their name.
I know, but like that game was the only thing separating them from moving on in my eyes, right? Like I think if they win, there was a tiebreaker. But even still, if they beat Machi, they would have had at least a chance with a tiebreaker. But instead, because they lost, I'm like, don't do that to me again. Don't please.
The good news, Tyler, is this iteration of Cloud9 is a lot better than that iteration of Team Liquid, in my opinion, at least.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
So I don't expect Cloud9 to, kind of fall apart against Detonation Focus Me and Infinity Esports over the course of the next few days. Yeah, fingers crossed is right. But if they play as well as they did today against those two teams, they should end up on the winning side of things. Because I think, really, it's funny saying, Cloud9 played well, but really, for the first 15 minutes of this game, Cloud9 was right in it.
It was close.
Don't forget that Sven had a scoreline of 3-0-1, a pretty decent chunk of the game. He was Cloud9's main threat source, and had he ramped up even harder than he did, and had he not been stopped from scaling, then perhaps Cloud9 could have taken this game against Damwon even further, but I expect them to take the next 2 games all the way to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to see Cloud9 versus DFM, because today was not a very good representation of what DFM can do. I think Arya quite clearly looked nervous. He normally does not play whatever that was that he showcased today, and I think DFM's mid jungle are hype. They're super aggressive. They're super involved in the game. They are kind of DFM's power source. And I think watching Steel and Arya versus Perks and Blabber is going to be a really good matchup, I think. Do I think that DFM will beat them? No. But I do think it'll be a closer game than people are expecting. And that's not an indictment of Cloud9. On my behalf, I'm not saying, Cloud9's so bad that they're going to get taken to close games by minor regions. I just think it's a very interesting stylistic matchup, and I think it'll be a very good one to watch coming into the next few days.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, moving on to maybe going a little bit out of order here. Actually, no, we'll stay in order. Pentanet, rough debut for them. It's unfortunate that I forget what podcast I was listening to, but I remember it was an in-game interview. I'm not sure, but if you're Pentanet, your only hope out of there is to catch RNG when they've already clinched the group, or you got to beat UOL. You're not playing this group against RNG; you're playing it against UOL. And Pentanet, Mike, you put some choice words in your rough draft of your day one recap, but the bottom line, it was not good for them.
My man, those words made the final draft. They did. Those are live on the site right now. Yeah, Pentanet had a very, very tough day today. Granted, they're a lot of fun to watch, and they are full of charisma, full of personality. Pabu is maybe my favorite player at the tournament after one day.
So great.
He is such a fun personality to watch. But the team itself does not look like they are cut out for the competition. In their current form at the very least. And it's scary because Group A plays a quadruple round-robin due to the lack of a fourth team in that group. So at the end of the day, I'm scared to see the next 3 contests against UOL and the next 3 contests against RNG, because both of those games ended up with an average of 14,000 gold differences. It was a brutal first day for Pentanet, and I guess the bright side is it only goes up from here, but man, is it a long way up.
I don't know. It's weird because it does feel like they're just trying to, we were kind of discussing it before, how it's like it looks like they're just trying to have fun with it, right? Because you are an underdog, you're facing off against pretty tough competition, right? And even in the draft, right? Like I tweeted out, oh, you guys gained a new fan with this draft, but at the same time, you got to think about it like how far do you like can you take before you start to actually feel it in terms of like this is an international tournament. You had to play an entire split to get here. You are representing your region.
Well, I got the chance to speak to Pabu today in an interview which, through various technical difficulties, I'm not sure if will be going out or not. Whether it'll be a video or not. Anyway, irrelevant. And he was basically talking about, he's the first player that I've ever heard actually say, yeah, we're coming here and we know that we're not going to win. Because, like, a lot of minor regions will give, like, we know it's unlikely, but ultimately we still want to try and win it all. But he was like, yeah, ultimately we know we're not coming here to win. We can come here and upset and we can do our best and we can, like, learn a massive amount from playing here, but we can't win. And that learning thing is something that I thought was particularly interesting because he was talking about we had a brief discussion about kind of the OS exodus with the changes to the NA import rule this year. And he's like, yeah, the quality of games in the LCO has just, like, the LCO and Oceanic solo queue has just, like, dropped off a cliff. Like, you can't learn anything really playing in the region. So you have to either aspire to go and play somewhere else, or you have to just take these, like, small learning opportunities that you can get at international events like this to hope that can level up your performance, because you just don't get that kind of level up from playing domestically. And I think although maybe it's more severe for OS just because of the current, like, import situation that they find themselves in, where they just kind of hemorrhaged a large amount of their best talent to NA. Like, I think that's true for a lot of the minor regions. I think you have to see it as a learning experience and you have to do what you can to learn, especially because it's MSI. We still have Worlds to go. If you can learn as much as you can from playing at MSI and then take those learnings, go back, marinate on them for a split, and then come to Worlds with, like, MSI experience under your belt, I think they can probably, like, do some really cool stuff. But as for now, I think they can maybe take a game if, like, one of the teams has an off day, but just based on what we've seen before, if they do not drastically improve within the next, like, week, I don't know if they will be able to take a game off either of these two teams when they're in form.
Yeah, it's just really, really tough. And that begs the question, right, for a lot of these minor regions, that kind of, do you aspire to, like, is your aspiration to make it out of the region in order to achieve greatness? Or
you're saying, like, individually for the players?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you aspire to make it out of the region and bring greatness to the region that way by saying, I am from this region and I became successful here? Or is it something else to say, I gained recognition with my region in a team? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
representing my region rather than, like, being an export of my region.
Exactly. So,
I mean,
I don't know. I think it might depend on the region that you come from.
I think it has to go to option A for sure, because everyone remembers. I mean, who do you think of first, Mad Lions Armut or Supermassive Armut? Just as an example.
Yeah.
It's like Armut turned the ship around and became an LEC champion in 3 months after joining a major region and made a name for himself across the world. And yeah, he was part of the first team to ever, take a best of 5 off of a major region squad from the TCL, but
no one remembers.
And then who
remembers that?
One split later, he was part of the first team since 2014 to win the LEC, not named Alliance and Fnatic and G2.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's
why
really,
he's on the map.
It's individual player basis. I mean, the players that come out of these minor regions and find success, they're the ones that make the record books.
And I feel bad. I honestly feel bad for the for OCE too, because now that they've lost so much of their great talent, because the LCS has all the money and all the resources to be like, hey, want to come over here and play for, like, who's gonna say no to, like, a name like Team Liquid or like the LCS in general, right? And so yeah, I can see why it'd be super rough for that region entirely. But yeah.
And like ultimately, I still like. We kind of sound like we're giving the eulogy to Pentanet here. Like, they can still do some cool stuff. Like, we've seen two games out of them. They have so much more opportunity to grow. And, like, you can make changes on a dime. Like, you can learn stuff in a game and then take the things that you've learned in that game forward into your next games. Like, if you have a good, solid coaching structure and, like, a really good team rapport, which from what we've seen of the content that they've been putting out and like just how they are around each other on stage, like you can tell that these guys get on. So if they have like this kind of rapport with each other, then they can take like individual mistakes from games and they can improve on them really quickly, and then they can maybe get better, but it is going to be a very, very steep learning curve and they're going to have to get better very fast if they want to be able to challenge.
Well, and speaking of things they could do, they could literally make history. And if the group is decided by the time, Sunday, which is the all Group A day where they just play each other, there's a lot of UOL, RNG, and Pentanet, they can make history by having the first female pro League of Legends player play at an international event.
I so hope they have her on for a game.
Let DSN play.
Like, I think that's thing. Like, if you're looking at this purely from just a like, just very like almost cynical, just like PR perspective, like why wouldn't you, right? You've got your name attached to history. But
let me ask you this: do you think it's worth putting her in now? Because obviously, whatever you put on the field right now is not really working.
I honestly can't say. Like, I don't know enough about her, like how she plays, what kind of champion she plays, like what her level is, how she plays with the team. Like, there's just so little sample size that I can't really say whether putting her in would be better. They lose a couple more games, maybe I change my mind, because that's the point where like any change you can make, regardless of how much data you have on the change, is going to, if not be positive, it can't get worse, ultimately. But like, I don't know, I really hope she gets a chance, because I think that would just be so cool for the history of esports to finally, the fact that it's taken this long is mind-blowing, but like to finally have a woman play at an international event would be so cool. And just to like to have one person open the floodgates and have people be like, oh, this is something you can do, actually. We didn't realize this was an option, but like it turns out we can actually do this. Like, someone has to be the person to make the first step, and if that is the last place team at MSI 2021, then so be it.
Who cares? Yeah, sure. No, I mean, they're like, she traveled with them for a reason, especially like Australia and the Oceanic region, with how strict they are with COVID quarantine. Like, they're not gonna just like, this isn't a publicity thing for them. Like, they brought her just like, well, no, like, she is good. Like, I think if you're from Australia in that region where you've been so just smart about COVID this whole dang time, that's not something you're not
just going to leave on a dime.
No, exactly. Staying on the minor region points, game of the day where I'll be honest, before I hop on my soapbox here, when I got into the call, we were watching on Discord. Meg, I don't know if you were there yet. I hop in, first thing I say, I come in when that tower dive on the top lane.
Oh, Christ.
Just so poorly.
Yeah.
Starscreen, they made him look like Nuggery with a couple of those plays. They being Pain Gaming. Look, Pain did, for the first 15 minutes of that game, Pain did not play well.
They
played actually really poorly. Yeah. They were beating their head against this let's tower dive one of the most untower diveable champions, and just be, oh, well, like, we got to shut him down, right? It's like, no, he said he plays weak, so he's just going to go to a side lane and just do literally anything else. But I came in and I was like, and you two were in there, Tyler and Mike, and I said, yep, it's all bad, boys. It's all bad. And because I was just like, not like this, right? If we lose to the Wildcats, but look competitive, I'm okay with that, because Brazil is the Pool 4 team. But because apparently, as bad as our macro was, our being Pain Gaming, as bad as our macro was, it's also not great? Having an 11-4 lead. That's, I don't know exactly how much the gold was, but it was a lot. And not being able to convert that, not ending that game when you should have, boy, oh boy. Opting into some fights that, and I think like Vedius, I think said it in the PGL, in the postgame lobby, like, he's like, look, these guys, these Simple Wildcats, like they're young players. Whereas like Brazil, like you can Bronzil memes, whatever. Like those are honestly half deserved. They have been around the block a few times, right? Like Tinones has been playing professionally for 8 years. It was his birthday today, Thursday, May 6th.
Happy birthday, Tinones.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and tomorrow is Faker's birthday. Is it a coincidence that they were born a year apart?
Okay,
Who can say?
okay.
Who can say? But then their AD carry, BRTT, also been playing for 8 years. The difference is BRTT is 30. Just by the way, guy's a boomer.
Yeah, he's 30. Yeah, he's 30.
He's a 30. His nickname is Bai, like the dad.
That's cute.
Also,
He's
he
30
drew
years old.
a Draven ban, which I thought was phenomenal. They just first banned his
Nice.
pocket pick that like really isn't that good and like he's not an S tier champion right now. But Tinones is 24. He turned 24 today and he's been playing for 8 years. I'll let you do that math. He made his debut
That's
in
crazy
2012.
to me.
He was 17 when he memed on Alliance at 2014 Worlds.
That's crazy.
So
Like,
yeah, he's 24. He's 6 weeks younger than me.
he's a veteran.
That's
He's a
so
veteran.
cool.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that really showed. And I was proud of Robo because he's got a champion Ocean up there. He's played 16 different champions over the course of regular split and playoffs.
Darius, baby.
And his Darius.
Suddenly he's just resetting on people.
Oh my gosh. It
Watching
was-
that game made me remember. I played top lane for a while exclusively because I got the Astronaut Poppy skin and I thought it was fantastic and I was like, I need to use this. And there's only so many times that you can force your friends to play Poppy Nasa's bot lane with you. Don't ask. And so I was like, I'm gonna take it into the top lane. And like, I haven't played top lane since then because I had one game against Darius. I am not a good player. I don't know if Poppy into Darius is a good matchup. I just know that was one of the like most painful experiences of my short life so far, and watching this game just made me remember how much I hate Darius. If I ever go back to League, I'm permabanning it because it makes the game so unfun. Because he's just gently twirling around a team fight, like taking half of everyone's hit point every time he touches them, and it's unpleasant.
That champion, that replay they had of him in the in-game like T-Tours like camera work that they had of him just dunking on people with the slow-mo. I'm like
sped up, they hold him in midair and then just like 1.25 speed, just bam,
just dunking, and that saved the team fight, and that honestly kind of turned the game. That team fight right there.
That fight, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. So, that was a banger. That was a banger of a game.
Definitely,
that was the best game.
Definitely game of the day for sure. And I think we might not see a better game for a while because it's a pretty high watermark already. And I don't know, man. That was a very, very good game. Almost 40 minutes back and forth, 4,800
as a
gold.
viewer.
Yeah, as a viewer, as a neutral viewer, 4,800 gold comeback. I mean, everyone played relatively well. Holy Phoenix on Samira had, I think an 8-1 scoreline. Like he played ridiculously well despite the loss. It was just
that fight in the base. Yeah,
it just came down to the the literal outplays at the back end of the game. I mean, BRTT played really well in a couple of team fights. He was just free firing on the enemy team for no good reason. And I think really Pain, like they woke up, they turned the monitors on and it showed.
I also love that the Brazil and Turkey minor region rivalry.
Oh, it's
this is
so
only,
fantastic.
This took a bucket of coal and dumped it in there and then just like pissed gasoline all over it. I'm so excited for round 2. And they get to play, and Robo gets to play, they get to play Mad Lions in 2 days, featuring Armut.
Yes.
Very excited for
let's go.
the rest of these matches. The other Group B match, kind of disappointed, unless of course you are a Mad Lions fan, in which case you are very glad Lions. That was a tonking. I don't think anyone expected that, even with Unified being subbed out for Doggo.
This was...
Dude, I hyped up these guys so much. I'm like, dude, they dominated the split. They literally lost one game throughout the entire season, including the playoffs, and then they just kept like reamed, like they got rocked.
Yeah.
I'm just watching Karzi and Kaiser just be like, yo. What regular season diff, buddy? Like, watch me. Like, this guy's just hopping around killing everybody. And it's like, okay, dude, sorry.
This was...
Oh my god.
This was a slaughter. There's no two ways about it. There was no point in this game where PSG looked like they had the reins or like anything. They kept like just trying to claw their way back up, and then Mad Lions would just stamp on their hand and be like, "No, get back down.
Word.
This is our game. We're playing this." And like, it's speaking as a completely unbiased EU representative. This is so good for Mad Lions. Like, the amount of people who were like, oh, but they still haven't proven themselves on the international stage. It could just be Choke 2.0. Like, Kazi and Kaiser could go back to the, like, getting killed 2v2, completely, like, lack of proactivity, weird engages bot lane that we saw at, like, the start of the regular season. To get this confident of a start, especially when you have a player like Armor on your team, who just seems to, like, my guy is made of confidence. Like, when you get this kind of, like, just a little ego boost at the start, you can go on an absolute tear from, like, just that one bit of confidence. And I, for one, think that... No, I'm going to save that, because that's a hot take, and I'm going to save that until the end, because I think we are going to be revealing our hot takes about MSI. But yeah, Mad looked really good. I'm glad they got, like, a positive start to kind of kick off their momentum, especially because they're such a young roster. And PSG got clapped. So that was that game.
What was an interesting tidbit that I learned from some of the research I'd done was that Unified is their shot caller, which as an AD carry, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you don't see that often.
That is quite
an AD
rare.
carry is the shot caller. But he was their kind of leading voice, and so it feels like it's more than just, you don't just lose like 20% of your team or whatever. Like, there's no disrespect to Doggo. Like, they wouldn't have picked him up if not for him being, good. Like we saw PSG did against adversity in a similar situation last Worlds. But, you look at, there was, for UOL, right? They had brought in, I think, because when Gadget, right, famous for his Twitch game at Worlds last year, he left. And then they bring in a French mid laner who doesn't speak Russian. And as good as he was, there were communication. Like, I think they still, like, kind of stomped with him, but then they swapped him out. Because of communication issues, because that matters so freaking much.
I'm going to hit you with a very, very deep cut. For those of you out there who recall the 2014 All-Star tournament, it was kind of like MSI before it was MSI. They still branded it as All-Stars, but the best team from each region went to the tournament and competed in the same format, or a similar format to the one that we use now. So it was pretty much like the MSI Lite, like the first MSI. And Cloud9 actually attended the event, but mid laner and shot caller High was not available. He was undergoing surgery for a collapsed lung, so Cloud9 replaced him with CLG's mid laner Link at the time. And the synergy levels for Cloud9 shot straight down. As people who followed the LCS back then might know, that Cloud9 team was ridiculously close-knit, and one break in the Link, no pun intended, threw the whole game off. So when you replace High with someone who was by definition a rival of the team, it kind of throws off the mojo a little bit. And I can see that kind of same situation happening here with PSG. Now, with that being said, PSG did actually stomp quite hard in the play-in stage at Worlds last season with the replacement squad they had to play with that time around, but maybe it's just a matter of building up synergy. We'll see. There's still plenty of games left to play, but day one, it's not looking like the number one seed is in view for PSG.
No, I don't think anyone really thought that, but I think Group B so far, I feel like that was the only, if you're looking just like pool to pool, I think the Pain over Istanbul Wildcats was the only upset of the day, right? It was Pool 4 over Pool 3, so technically an upset, but that's not even worth saying. Anyway, champions though, as we transition here, we knew the meta was going to be a little different. 11.9, and what's crazy is like in 11.9, like it's like what the pros can do with it, because the pros, I think NA was on 11. They were patched behind everybody for playoffs, right? So they 11.5, and everybody else was in 11.6. So everyone zoomed forward 3 patches in competitive play, and NA zoomed forward 4. Right? Apparently, Detonation Focus Me and Infinity didn't get the memo because they. I
Don't
like
piss me. Don't talk to me about this, man.
Chamber, watching some finals. But we had some fun. Lane Sin did come out. We got Morgana Jungle and Rumble. Let's talk Rumble. Is everybody mentally okay with talking Rumble after some of the things we saw today?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
This champion is disgusting. I don't know, like, if he gets a slight lead, like,
it's over.
What's going on here, guys?
It
like,
melts you. You just kind of stand near him, and then suddenly you've died. And you're like, oh, well, this is cool. Guess I have some time to shop. It's insane. Yeah.
Just head to the shop already. That first, like, gank that he did in the bottom lane for RNG, where, like, he just ulties on top and then flash and then does his flamethrower. I'm like, where'd they... I blinked.
Yeah, it was done. It was done. So, granted, he had a nice knockup from the support, but still. It's the character's ridiculous, and I was actually quite excited to see Pentanet draft him with a pretty solid team fighting composition around the champion. I know it didn't go exactly as planned because they got actually stomped, but on the front end of it, in Champion Select, when I saw they drafted Varus and Ornn alongside the Rumble, I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, this is quite the choke. This is quite the choke composition they have here. You can fight in small spaces and win the game through solid team fighting. And then it all fell apart because it just didn't work. Ults. Yeah, it just didn't work.
You just missed ults.
That's literally everyone was missing ults. Forget the Rumble. Every ultimate that you needed to land to get that engage, it just didn't happen.
Like, I don't know if it's just not comfort, right? Like, maybe he's not comfortable on the champion, but my goodness, like, you had really good ways to pull that team composition off, right? Like you said, they're kind of like really good in like the jungle, right? If they fought more in the jungle, that would be a disgusting team comp, right? Because there's nowhere to run. But you're ulting at people in the lane, where as soon as they hear the Ornn horn, they're getting the hell out the way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think the Rumble hit more than one person for multiple of those ultis.
Yeah.
It was just hitting one person, and then everyone else just scattered because they heard the Ornn horn first. It's like...
Pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you gotta lead up with some kind of CC, at least, that, like, makes sense.
And it needs to be some kind of fast CC. Because, like, you have the cast time on the Rumble. You need something like a Leona that's not, like, super telegraphed, and it doesn't have to be like I'm blowing a very big trumpet, and now you're all gonna get knocked up by a giant sheep. Like, it needs to be something more instantaneous than that. And, like, obviously, Pentanet have issues that are not related to the draft, so, like, that game is little to no comment on Rumble's strength. But, like, man, that champion is going to be seeing a lot of bans throughout this tournament, I think, because it's I would think that the amount of, like, zone control that you can get with it in fights, and especially with, like, the mid laners that we've been seeing, like the Orianas and the Victors, like, these kind of put something down, and in the jungle make it so that nobody can walk into this space type thing. I think Rumble works super well with that, so I'm expecting to see not see very much of him at all in this tournament, honestly.
I'd be very surprised to see him get a lot of playing time, because the good team, against especially the good teams, because if you get, like, these top teams getting Rumble, unless they haven't really been practicing with it, but, like, the good junglers will know where exactly to path and how to place the ulti and how to maximize his damage. And
how to coordinate with their supports to get, tons of good CC. Like, there was the one fight that, as Pain were on their comeback, Istanbul got when, Ferret, right? He wasn't snowballing like Wei was. Because, like, Wei, he, like, got one kill and he's like, all right, it's a Dark Seal game, boys. And then he just bought, like, flat pen sword shoes and just started massacring kids. Mm-hmm. But Ferret didn't really get going there. He got that triple kill right at the end of the game to end 4-4 and 11. But the only reason that, look, there was some questionable positioning by Pain Gaming in a couple of those fights, but it was Farfetch who, there was a big 3-man knockup. He was just walking around and just ba-bam. And it's like, actually, do you want to stay on the Rumble ult? Guess what? You have no choice. Mm-hmm. You're going to stay here. Your health is going to tick down. You have to use the summoners. You have to use your valuable things, not for offense, but for defense.
Just to kind of bounce off your point, Tyler, I think the good junglers, the quote-unquote good junglers, I mean, they're all good, they're all professional players, but the top-tier junglers at this tournament, they're practicing Rumble. If you remember in Damwon versus Cloud9, Rumble was first ban priority red side for Cloud9. They took that away from Canyon, no questions asked. I got a feeling that, obviously we can't look into scrims, we have no idea, but I got a good feeling those Scrim games are featuring a ton of Rumble, and it is a very scary pick.
Maybe if we look at like tracking the pros, we look at the junglers in solo queue. Maybe they're playing it as well.
Perhaps they probably are if it's not permaban in solo queue.
There's
But
been
I imagine
a lot of like Rumble has been very, very popular in high elo solo queue in like everywhere, but specifically in Europe, it's been like Rumble, Morgana, Diana have been like the trifecta
because they're all disgusting.
Yeah, they're all
champions
so
in the jungle
unbelievable.
right now. My goodness gracious.
Doubt we'll see any Diana at MSI. Famous last words. But like
Maybe.
Those three have been just absolutely going on a tear in solo
their
queue.
clear time is disgusting. Like what is going on here? Morgana's just clearing the jungle with her pool and then turning off the screen, and suddenly he's full cleared the jungle. Like what's going on? It's nuts.
No, I think the AP jungler's got a nice little boost. So let's get into your hot takes. We have a couple of overreactions here, because even though there was only one kind of, oh my gosh, DEFCON 1 type of game here, we can overreact. That's what we're gonna do. We're not just gonna,
because it's fun.
Just waste oxygen here after one day. No, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Mike, we'll start with you because I like your hot take the best.
Oh, yes. I imagine you would, Hank. Wow, that's insane. Why do you like it so much? Why do you like the idea that Pain Gaming makes it out of Group B and PSG takes the third spot in the group standings? Yeah, that's my hot take. I think after today's matches, PSG got absolutely whopped by Mad Lions. It was not close. It was not competitive, and Pain Gaming showed sparks of life. They showed that they were a resilient team. They showed that they were a commanding team at times, and they showed that they know how to team fight really, really well. BRTT's positioning was actually pretty solid. He did walk into a Samira ult at one point, which is quite
That's just the boomer hands. It's fine. That's just the boomer hands.
It's fine.
We don't look at that.
But his positioning was solid that entire 40-minute game, except for that one hiccup. He was just free firing over and over and over again. Robo had the game of his life. And Tinone's engagements on Silas, while he did
Tinone's was styling on kids and making stealing an Alistar ult look like the S tier play.
He knows something I don't know, man. There were so many other ults.
I remember we were watching the game. Yeah, deadass. We were watching the game and we're like, why did you what?
Like, oh, it's a misclick. He was the only one in range. He's a frontline or whatever.
Yeah.
No, he became like
then he
an
just
unkillable
lives.
beast. Tinone's on Silas was pretty good. He missed a couple of E's that I noticed, but other than that, if he just cleans up a few mistakes, he is set for life. This Pain Gaming team knows how to team fight, and I fully expect them to have a very, very competitive game against PSG. They actually might win it. They might win it and secure a second seed in this group.
This guy looks hyped up already.
You're making me believe. Does anyone else want to make more blood rush to my head before we?
I'll talk about the opposite. Just to humble you. Just to make sure you're grounded. I think that PSG needs some time to roll. I think that right now they're getting kind of like they're just stretching out they're stretching themselves out. And I think that they have to work with this new ADC, and because it's a pretty big change, they need to kind of there's a ramp up period that needs to be done here. But I still think that PSG's really, really, really strong. They just got to find that form. Granted, Mad Lions is the best team in that group by far. So we'll see what happens. I'm not giving it completely to Pain. I think that that's still a very even matchup. But it depends on the form that they come into the day with.
And the Group B presumptive on paper champions Mad Lions, there was a spicy take surrounding them and how far they go.
Yo, might get roasted.
So I've been sitting here with myself, and every EU fan comes to a point in their life where they have to have this conversation with themselves. And it's, how stupid do I want to sound? Can I go all the way? Can I say this knowing that it will get clipped and I will have it delivered with a nice neat little bow on top to my inbox every single time that this team ever does anything wrong, ever? So I've been
with an LUL?
Yep. I've been having this conversation with myself throughout the past 5 minutes of the podcast. Physically I've been here, but mentally I've been in my mind palace. And I'm not willing to fully commit to this, so I'm not gonna say that Mad will win MSI. However, I do think it is going to be a Mad Down 1 finals. And I'll tell you for why, dear listener. Because Mad we spoke to Stress on an episode of the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he told us a very interesting anecdote about Humanoid, Mad's mid laner, and he basically said Humanoid, like, just doesn't feel nerves. Like, that's just not a thing that he's capable of having. He sees every mid laner as like, oh yeah, it's just mid lane matchup, just gonna go farm, maybe kill him a bit. I don't know, it's just how you play mid lane. And that's his thing. And, like, this is a team who's, like, they thrive off confidence. Like, anyone who's looked at Armut for more than 5 seconds can tell that this guy just sweats confidence. Like,
they can't look at him for more than 5 seconds.
Mike got it right there. He's like a
contest.
Yeah, he
like Medusa.
exudes confidence just from every fiber of his being. And, like, the bot lane have proved too, they're like, yeah, we're here to have fun. Like, we wanna enjoy it, we wanna have some good games. The fact that they got such a good start, like, there were 5 deaths in that game. Like, Kazi had a KDA of 18, I think. Like, they smurfed. There's no other way to say it. They absolutely smurfed. And for them to get, like, the confident kickstart, if they can do what they did to PSG's bot lane, to RNG's bot lane, then I really think there's a chance that MAD can make finals. And, like, Gala is an absolutely insane team fighter, and Ming is an incredible support, but neither of them are particularly laners. Like, Ming is a roaming support. Ming is, like, he wants to be on something kind of tanky with a lot of engage, so he can just run into mid lane and make enemy mid laners' life, like, as miserable as possible alongside Wei. If MAD can bot gap RNG in the same way they bot gapped PSG in this series, then I'm feeling real good about a Damwon MAD final.
I have a question for you, Meg, because this is something that kind of just popped up in my head right now. So let's say, in that potential MAD versus Damwon final, Mad Alliance gets Carzzy extremely ahead. We're talking, 3 kills at 10 minutes.
Go on, I'm intrigued.
Whatever, right? Damwon notoriously plays a weak side bottom lane, and they played it today against Cloud9, and we watched Sven get ahead, and we watched Cloud9 lose. Do you think if Mad Lions gets Carzzy ahead against Damwon's weak side bottom lane, they can transition that lead into a win?
My heart wants to say yes. My heart very much would like to say yes, they could. However, I just don't feel like Damwon are that exploitable. They play weak side bot, but they're not gonna like roll over and die. It's not gonna be a question. They're not gonna be 2v2 fighting, but they can also, I think that like Ghost and Beryl are very well equipped to just completely shut MAD out of the game. If they manage to execute in the first 5 minutes of the game, if they don't die to like a weird bot gank within the first 5 minutes of the game, I think they can just kind of like, if somebody quite short is trying to hit somebody who's quite tall, and you just put your hand on their head while they run at you and they can't get further than arm's length. I think that like Damwon's bot very much have the capability to do that to MAD. And I think if that's the case and MAD have to like pull Elyoya bot lane to try and like break the stalemate, then that's like wasting a lot of Elyoya's time, and Canyon can just like go and work his magic on the entirety of the rest of MAD's map.
I'm more interested in the RNG MAD kind of set like matchup, because I feel like those are the two teams that are really fighting for that spot next to Damwon in finals. Genuinely, I think that because I think we spoke about it in the last episode, where it's like Wei is a big part of the success of RNG in that he gets he helps out Xiaohu to succeed. I think that Elyoya is really good if he can help, if Mad can find a way to put Wei behind so he can't get these lanes like ahead. I think that Armut can hold his own against Xiaohu. Like, I don't think that that's a complete top gap. And the bottom lane, we'll see, right? In terms of things, because, it's been one day. So, Carzzy, even though he did, smurf against, Gala and Ming, it's going to be a little bit different story. But I think that saying that Damwon and MAD is the finals isn't a stretch as much as people think it's going to be.
No shot.
I think that it can really happen, actually.
No, and I think especially if excuse me, if MAD do have to go through, or if it's like if it was a MAD Damwon final, and is assuming that they actually get there, like I think because it was like. To beat RNG, right, it was like Dagda said, right? He said, look, it's not about taking down Shahu. It's not about taking down Cryin. It's not about winning the bot 2v2. It's about making Wei and Ming's life miserable because they're what make everything go round, right? You guys said that, right? It's just you got to, like, take out the pillars, right? You got to sweep the leg, if you will. But I think that, and again, this is no disrespect to Fudge, but I think, like, because, again, it wasn't, like, when Cloud9 got ahead in the bot lane, Damwon are so efficient, they just responded with something else immediately. It was like, okay, that's not going too hot, and there's attention being dragged down there. You know where there's not? The top lane. Khan gets a slight advantage. Great. Let's go murder Blabber in his own jungle. And they're playing a 4v5. Right? And that, I think, is less likely to happen to an Armut / Elyoya. More so Armut, because I think Elyoya and Blabber are closer in skill than Armut and Fudge are.
Yeah.
I just don't think that, you know, that there are going to be as many mistakes. Again, this is not to flame Fudge. Like, dude was playing in Academy last year. I was going up against Khan. The guy has grown so much. I will not tolerate any Fudge slander on this podcast.
Bro, he top gap Alfari. That's all I gotta say.
It's true.
Like he played his ass off against Alfari and Sunday. So you know he's only gotten better and better and better in one split. So
I just think whatever. Even if, Karzi and Kaiser are able to get ahead, whatever Damwon try to do in response, I think will be less effective or less, noticeable against Mad Lions. They're just a little more cohesive, just kind of person to person. But
or they get bodied.
Unless we've got any other scalding takes, there is a game to be played. We've got the return of Meg's game.
Yes.
With Mike making his debut. We're going to test our minor region knowledge. Is that right?
You are indeed going to be testing your minor region knowledge. Not so I just put my headphone in. I can hear you all perfectly. But we have 3 questions today because I couldn't find anything else. Full transparency.
Nice.
So we have 3 questions, and these are Mike for our new initiate into Meg's game. This is basically some random ass stats that Meg found on Games of Legends to do with the drafts in respective regions and how close can you get to the right answer. So you ready to go?
Yeah, let's roll.
And you probably can't do worse than Tyler and Hank did on their first time. So just feel good about that. If you feel like you're not doing too great.
Thanks for the random shot to the chest.
I'm here to break records, so we'll find out.
Tyler's the only one who's actually, I think, gone positive in this. I have yet to win an edition of Meg's game. I have yet to get more right than wrong in a Meg's game.
You're scaling. It's fine. You're scaling for late game.
You're scaling for late game.
Let me ask you this.
Like Pain Gaming, baby.
Last time I was here, we played Who He Play For, and I bombed. Is this easier or harder? Relatively speaking.
Depends where your knowledge lies.
Word.
I think it's about equal in that, especially this week, most of this will be educated guesswork. But with that being said, let's get started.
Sure.
So, question 1 is an LCO question. How many champions has Pentanet's Pabu played over the course of LCO Spring? In fact, you could almost say that he has a champion ocean.
All right, yo, the episode's done. All right, let's wrap it up.
It's good.
All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you for
having me.
We're
on Google Play.
Yeah. Man. Hank is gone. He's left. Elvis has left the building.
Gone, man.
Oh my God.
It's over.
There was a moment where Tyler was talking where I thought of that, and if you go back, you might be able to see my eyes light up the second I think of that pun, 5 minutes ago.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, host. Please forgive me.
Shirt too. Holy.
Please forgive me for my transgressions.
How many champions has Pabu played? Oh no, we're still recording, man. Welcome back into the mix.
We're still in it, man.
Welcome back.
It's been real.
It's been fun.
Pabu,
the one and only. How many champions has he played? I'm gonna say an even dozen. 12.
I'll say 14.
You're gonna hate me. It's let's see. I'm gonna say 13.
Coward.
What do you mean?
And it
You went
turns
too up,
out,
man.
in a shocking twist of events that no one had expected, you are all wrong. He has played 15 champions over the course of the regular season and the spring playoffs.
Ugh,
Whatever, bro.
man. Is that more? That's more than Dardoch, right? Our boy?
I'll check.
Our MVP candidate?
Yes.
Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
Right.
Yes.
So big zeros all round for the boys so far. Let's see if we can turn it
goose
around.
egg, yeah.
Fine, why not?
Question 2. What is Tanone's highest win rate champion?
Come on, Hank. This is alley-oop.
Come on, dude.
She's pitching underhand.
I'm gonna add a caveat to this. This is not. There are 3 champions that he's played once and on which he has a 100% win rate. This is not including those champions because that's only 1 win.
Are we talking 2021 or all time?
2021.
Okay.
Because I have a guess, but there was a point in the season in which it started getting banned out. I'm gonna go with my gut and say Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate.
I'm gonna say Syndra.
Victor.
You are all wrong. It's Zoe.
Nice.
We all suck. Let's go,
Let's
baby.
go, okay.
Let's go, baby.
What were like the rest of them?
I will find it for you in 1 second.
Zoe.
We may have to cut a section out because it's going to take me a second to look for this, but where are we? CBLOL.
Dardoch played 12 champions over the course of...
Okay.
So more than Dardoch.
if you count Lock-In, he played 13...
A lot more.
14.
Still less.
Yeah.
Ooh.
14. Because he got a Karthus game in Lock-In.
He did.
Yeah. Karthus and Talia.
I believe he started the season lock-in plus regular season start with like 11 straight games of different
Wait,
characters.
no, 15. Wow. He never played Lilia in the regular season. Or playoffs. He had 1 Lilia game in the Lock-In.
Weird.
That's
Surprising.
wild. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to have to backtrack on my statement slightly because he also has with 2 games, has a 100% win rate on a Azir, which is not any of the champions that you said. I thought that was 1 game. I misread the graph. But he has an 83.3% win rate on Zoe, followed by 75% win rates on Twisted Fate and Galio.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's looking good, lads. And the last one. For DFM, we're moving over to the LJL now. Who had more Gragas games on DFM throughout the course of the LJL spring? Was it Evie or was it Kazu? So top or support?
Evie does not strike me as a Gragas player after watching his teleport
Kazu.
ignite Akali play today.
Kazu. Sport.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
say
gonna go with Kazu.
I'm gonna say DFM flexed the Gragas pick into the support role more times on the 2021 season.
Solidarity, boys.
So you're all saying support.
No way, right? We're all wrong again. Come
And
on.
in a shocking turn of events, you are in fact all wrong. It was top lane.
bad at
Evie had 6
Yo.
games, Kazu had 3. You guys
Jeez.
suck at this, huh?
We're really... Did like a fourth
Yeah.
one? Like,
Yo, can we do like Tyler's game next and Meg has to answer questions? She's acting
I
all
don't
high
think
and
we should
mighty
do
over
that.
here
I
in the
think that
chair
would be
with
bad.
the
I don't
answers.
think that's what the viewers want. I think we should keep it as next game.
man.
You, bro.
I wish you asked me about Arya's Seraphine KDA because it's 51.0 on the nose. I'll never forget that. That is an insane stat.
That's a large number.
It is, and you actually wrote about it, Meg, in our power ranking segment.
Hell
so
yeah.
Wow,
In
then
our
that doesn't get you
MSI
points,
power
though, so-
rankings, go and check them out.
It's true.
Put the link
Go
right,
check them out live on
right
the site.
here in the middle of the
be there.
screen. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. I'll
Wow.
okay. I got to start doing embeds now. All right, cool. Well, we put that on
Just
the internet.
a scuffed link popping up.
I'm gonna write that down. 53 minutes power ranking.
My man, making a note.
I gotta make notes, man. This is the only way that this gets done with any sort of expediency. So I don't have to like manually scrub through and look for clips.
Of course.
Thanks, Mike.
And
the
this has
efficiency
been
is
How
there.
to Produce a Podcast with Henrique DaMour.
It's our next segment.
Yeah. What's the opposite of a master class? It's just not that. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us here on the Critical Strike podcast. We got it under an hour. We shot for 45 minutes. We didn't crazily go over that, so I'm proud of us. Big thank you to Michael. We will link his, we'll link the power rankings. We'll link a little day one
Twitter
recap, maybe. Or actually, I don't know. I'm gonna mess around with the HTML. So we'll get stuff that was written here. Plug our wonderful writers. For him, for Meg Kay, for Tyler Esguerra, I've been Henrique DaMour. You can find us, the Critical Strike Podcast, on YouTube right here. If you're looking at us, and if you're not, hi. And then Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Play. I think that's it.
Nailed it.
I think that's it.
Hey, look at this guy.
Yeah, you did it.
More and more surprising.
Let's go.
And if you're
the bounce back.
If you're on Apple or any other podcast platform that allows you to leave a review, please do. I would really appreciate it. It doesn't even have to be it could be like a meme review. There's one that someone put in there about like a cat. It's like, oh, my cat Matilda listened to the Critical Strike podcast and now she's feral. So
that's the goal.
Either you're welcome or I'm sorry. I'm not sure.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment telling us which of Henrique's various Brazil shirts was your favorite. We need a concise Brazil shirt ranking from you guys in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my clever editing maybe made this look more or less obvious. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't done actual editing yet. But yeah, and if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, share. We want to just get this out as much as possible. This isn't to inflate our own egos. This literally this is a passion project for us. So just if you like us, support us. And if not,
like us.
I still believe that you like us. I guess. I don't know.
You don't need to act hard to get.
Just
you
saying.
can. You know you like us. No. You don't have to act hard to get. It's fine.
Exactly. The DMs are open. So that's going to do it. For everyone I mentioned, Meg, Tyler, Mike, I've been Henrique. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week. Enjoy MSI, y'all. Hey, y'all, for more of the Critical Strike podcast, make sure to check us out on YouTube and like and subscribe for more esports content.